Anyway, right. This chap is one of the first Europeans who got the opportunity to taste a traditional chocolate drink. The traditional chocolate drinks didn't have any sugar in them. They were completely unsweetened. They were bitter, they were spicy, they were thick, and they were foamy. Not something that instinctively appealed to the European palate at the time. And he was an Italian called Girolamo Benzoni. He wrote a book when he came back from Mexico about the story of the New World, history of the New World. And this is what he said. Cacahuatl, which was the original name of the drink, they think they changed it to chocolate because they didn't like drinking a brown liquid called caca, seemed more like... Oh, blimey, sorry, don't know what happened there. Seemed more like a drink for pigs than a drink for humanity. I was in this country for more than a year and never wanted to taste it, and whenever I passed a settlement, some Indian would offer me a drink of it and would be amazed when I would not accept, going away laughing. But then, as there was a shortage of wine, so as not to be always drinking water, I did like the others. The taste is somewhat bitter, satisfies and refreshes the body, but does not inebriate, and is the best and most expensive merchandise according to the Indians of that country. So anyway, subsequently, obviously, chocolate did catch on. The Spanish started adding sugar to it and milk, and then it was brought over to Europe, and in the 19th century, I think Joseph Fry invented the first solid chocolate bar by grinding the seeds up, adding extra cocoa fat, the fat from the bean, and sugar. So I've got 3 chocolate pies to show you here. This is the relative cocoa content of your different types of chocolate that you can buy. Dark chocolate with loads, the brown bit is the bit with the good stuff in. That's the cacao, that's the seed, that's the stuff that affects the brain chemistry, and I'll talk about that in a sec. Dark chocolate, loads of that, a fair bit of sugar and a bit of fat, and that's lecithin, that's the emulsifier that they use in modern chocolate bars to mix all the fat in. If you don't have enough of that in, you get that horrible white bloom in the chocolate that you get in old chocolate where the fat starts separating out. That is milk chocolate, bit less of the brown stuff, not quite so good, fair bit of milk, loads more sugar, about double the sugar. White chocolate, no brown stuff in it at all, so kind of nice tasting. So, sorry to white chocolate fans, it's not quite so good for you, I'm afraid. The dark chocolate is the stuff with the medicinal bits in. Right, so medicinal compounds in chocolate, what they've discovered so far. There are loads, oh god, don't want to do that again. There's loads of antioxidant compounds in there. As I've said, they're reduced by roasting and industrial processing, so that the more sort of unprocessed the chocolate, the better in a way for the medicinal point of view. What the antioxidants do, okay, I'm sure some of you will know this, but basically antioxidants are substances which mop up free radicals. That always sounds like a bunch of little Che Guevaras running around in your body to me, but that's not what it means. Free radicals are they're little molecules produced in when you digest food and it's turned into sugars, and your cells use those sugars, burn the sugars with oxygen to produce energy. In the process of burning the sugars to produce energy, lots of free radicals are produced. These are little molecules, kind of like soot from a fire, which eventually will damage the cell. So antioxidants are naturally occurring substances which mop up the free radicals, which reduce the damage, which kind of clean the soot that's produced in the combustion of sugars, if you like. So they're generally considered to be a good thing, and they've been linked to all sorts of things like reduction of all kinds of cellular damage, reduced risk of cancers, lots of good stuff. And the lab tests that have been done on the antioxidants in chocolate show that, at least in the laboratory, they protect nerve and lung cells from damage, deactivate some cancer-causing compounds, including one found in cigarette smoke, and reduce inflammation. Interesting. Secondly, the stimulants found in chocolate, the main ones that we know about are theobromine, which is the most, that's about 3 to 4%, and caffeine. The theobromine is more of a heart stimulant than a mind stimulant. It stimulates the heart somewhat, it's diuretic, which means it helps get rid of excess fluid, it improves the coronary circulation, dilates blood vessels, relaxes the airways. It used to be used medicinally on its own for slow heartbeat, for water retention, for asthma and for coughs, but you do get a tolerance to its effects, so it's not brilliant on its own for all those things, but it does, as I say, have all those effects. There's less caffeine in chocolate. There's a little bit there, but a bit less. There are lots of other interesting stimulant compounds, which I think I'd put you into a coma if I talked about, so I won't. But basically, they tend to increase arousal, motivation, and muscular strength. A lot of the other stimulant compounds in chocolate that are found often in very small amounts, but there are quite a lot of them, raise the levels of dopamine, this chemical in your brain which is associated with motivation and arousal and control of muscular movement, which is interesting, referring to my lady with Parkinson's who I spoke to a few years ago. And there are also some levels of trace brain chemicals, i.e. chemicals that are found in the human brain in chocolate. Their influence is debatable because a lot of scientists have said they're found in too small a level really to get into your brain and do anything. But what we do know is that the levels found in chocolate could probably have an effect on the gut, on the digestion, and that they would seem to stimulate digestive processes. So, okay, and what about in humans? The studies that have been done in animals, let's start with animals, move up to humans later, or down, whatever. Animals, they found, given chocolate in the diet, fruit flies lived longer, rats lived longer, depressed rats were helped by chocolate, which is interesting. Rabbits got healthier. After 6 months they had reduced blood pressure and heart rate. Sensitivity to allergies was reduced. This is including dark chocolate in the diet of these animals for a few months. And they had an increased resistance to viruses and fungal infections. Interesting. Humans, the human trials that have been done, these are mostly double-blind trials, some not blinded, but anyway, there are enough trials now to come to some conclusions. The human trials, generally, as an overview, reduced blood clotting, improved heart circulation, improved circulatory health, improved insulin sensitivity and production. Very interesting, considering people always like, don't eat chocolate if you're diabetic. Well, dark chocolate might actually, according to these trials, help with insulin sensitivity. Of course, it would only be true if you ate a moderate amount and it was dark chocolate and didn't have that much sugar in it, so just caveat there. A moderate intake of chocolate, say about 20 grams 3 times a week, was found to be anti-inflammatory in men and women. Interestingly, a very high amount, or no chocolate at all, didn't have that benefit. So it's only a moderate amount of chocolate which was found to be anti-inflammatory. And really interestingly, chocolate was found to be more anti-inflammatory in women than in men. Interesting. Okay, and then another interesting point, not unexpected though, a lot of the benefits were found to be reduced by the sugar content. This makes sense. If you remember what I was saying when I was banging on about antioxidants, every time your cells metabolize sugar, free radicals are produced. Most natural sources of sugars, like fruits, contain loads of antioxidants, like vitamin C, like the pigments you find in fruits, which are often antioxidants. So if you have loads of white refined sugar, you've got loads more fuel, but you're going to be producing more free radicals in the burning of that fuel. So given that a lot of the medicinal benefits of chocolate that have been investigated so far depend on the antioxidants, the more sugar you've got in there, the less benefits you're going to accrue.